Good morning, sunshine, and welcome back to another episode of Shine Buzz Daily, where it's all about overcoming toxic relationships by shifting your vibration and raising your vibration and taking inspired action to create the life that you really want. I apologize for that botched beginning, but this is what happens when you have live stuff, right? So today we are going to talk about the shift that happens when you are on the precipice of creating serious personal change in your life. All right. And it's especially when you've gone through a toxic relationship and you believe things to be a certain way, and then you have to kind of come back around and try them a different way. So that is exactly what we're talking about today. I'm just making sure, hey Karen, that we are live, and it looks like we are. So I'm just going to hopefully not have missed any steps here. Hello, Miss Charmmaker, Polly Pink, Suzanne. Hello, everybody. All right. So just in case you're new around here today, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you about 15 minutes of content, and we're going to read the cards, and then we're going to jump right into the chat and have a lovely discussion, shall we? All right, y'all, let's get to Shine Buzz. Here we go. So here's what it all comes down to. Throughout the course of my own recovery, I have found myself experiencing a lot of different shifts in mindset, several. And in some moments, it sort of felt like a switch had been flipped, right? I suddenly understood things differently, and I would recognize that I had been wrong all along in some way or another. Excuse me. Each of those times, I found myself evolving and growing in new ways. By the way, do you have your coffee today? Excuse me, got a little tickle. Anywho, for example, I've told you before the story, I just not that long ago, last week I think, of how after a really profound betrayal from my toxic family, I literally almost felt something break inside me. And that was one of those moments of shift. Another time, a couple years later, I found myself in a very unexpected moment of anger. And it was just while I was working one day, but something happened. Through the process of my inner child work, I had managed to recognize that I was not really the complete waste of skin that I had been led to believe that I was by the toxic people in my life. Now you would think, excuse me, you would think that would make me happy. And eventually it did make me happy. But when I recognized how much of my life had been wasted believing, number one, that I was worthless, and recognizing that it was directly caused by the fact that I had allowed other people's opinions of me to become my own opinion of me, and on some level, my own reality, well, I was mad. I was incredibly angry. And I felt maybe for the first time in my life what I like to call justified rage. So that moment would lead to another one of those light switch moments where my perception suddenly shifted. And I sort of launched into this whole period in my life where I went through this incredible personal evolution, transformation on almost every level. Well, then there was the birth of my oldest child, who, when he was born, I found myself shifting in a new way. I found a different understanding of my relationship with my father. And I'm not going to go into those reasons today because that's a whole other story. But then the birth of my youngest child, my only girl, I found a different shift happening. I found myself wanting to be more connected to my mother, but that wasn't really an option. I tried to even call her at that time and tell her about this feeling that I had, but she couldn't get it. So it led me to recognize that I needed a connection, or I wanted a connection to the generations of women who came before me in my family, all the mothers, not just the one I had. And so that made me really start digging into my family's history and genealogy. I had my DNA done. I did all that stuff because since I couldn't feel connected to her, I wanted to be connected to other women who came before me, like I said, in a different way, where I could maybe learn their stories and their struggles and find out who they were. And I could go on for hours. And I could also go on for hours about the little shifts that have led me to this particular point in my personal development. But I won't, because today we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you and your own personal evolution. So we're going to talk about the shift versus the profound metamorphosis in our evolution after narcissistic abuse. So here we all are. And I found this quote a while back that kind of sums it up for me. And excuse me, I don't know who said it, so if you hear this and you know who said it, let me know in the chat, because I do want to give credit where it's due. But the quote reads like this: "As you are shifting, you will begin to realize you are not the same person you used to be. The things that you used to tolerate have now become intolerable. Where you once remained quiet, you are now speaking your truth. Where you once battled and argued, you are now choosing to remain silent. You are beginning to understand the value of your voice, and there are some situations that no longer deserve your time, energy, and focus." It blew my mind, y'all. It spoke to me on a soul level. I didn't realize, in fact, that I really wasn't the person I have been before. I really wasn't tolerating the same stuff I had once tolerated. And clearly I'm now speaking my truth pretty openly. And I have also stopped trying to argue with anyone who won't hear me. Some people, they can hear you. They choose not to listen. They choose not to understand. I like to think of those people as brick walls, and I just don't mess with them. I always tell myself and anyone who asks me, I don't talk to brick walls. They don't listen. You know, I've learned to save my energy and my voice for things and people who actually deserve my time and my focus. And those are people like you. The thing is, this is why I do what I do. Because even if you're not ready to say goodbye to the problems or the problem people in your life, we all know who they are, you will personally shift as you start to learn about what you're dealing with and you start to learn about yourself in that process. The truth is that it relates to anything you do, and so does my healing method, which I call the duo method, which is discover, understand, overcome, and then evolve beyond that stuff. Well, I figure I've literally solved every problem in my own life with that same method, not just my toxic relationships. It's because it works. Because here's the thing. The first thing you're focusing on when you're discovering is the knowledge and the information, because you're trying to figure out exactly what, a lot of us didn't even know we were going through abuse until we found out that there was such a thing, because emotional abuse, verbal abuse, all of that stuff is incredibly sneaky, pervasive. So unless we were being physically abused, we don't always know until somebody tells us that, in fact, we're not crazy. We're not really the bad, horrible person they tell us we are. In fact, we're all right and we're okay. And it's not us. That's the problem. When I realized that was another one of those shifts for me, but I didn't have the gift of YouTube at that time, and I had to do a lot of research and books. But, that was back then. So the thing is, the next step then, the understanding step, asks you to try to comprehend and understand the information that you're dealing with, and then asks you to take it to the next level and connect the emotional stuff to the facts that you've learned, so that you can overcome then and evolve from what you've learned. And it's pretty good stuff. The shift thing, though, let's get back to that. It's real, and maybe I never even considered it a shift before. Maybe I wanted to think it was something fancier, like a metamorphosis or a profound transformation. And those things do come, but it all begins with this one thing, and it's that shift in your mindset, in your thought patterns. It's a shift in your personal awareness and a shift in the deepest part of your soul. You feel me on this? It's a shift in your overall energy and the way that you present yourself to the world, and not just that, but it's very deep. It's on the inside, so the way you present yourself to the world, people may or may not notice the shift right away, but they will eventually see that there's something different about you. You'll know it right away. As soon as it happens, it changes, and even if you're not changing in that second, you know it's coming. It does. It becomes a metamorphosis. It becomes a profound transformation. But first, the shift. And without the shift, well, it never begins, does it? As you shift, you become less and less tolerant of things that tarnish your energy and corrode your life. And over time, you raise your standards. And slowly but surely, you grow in confidence. You grow in understanding of yourself. You grow in self-awareness. A little by little, bit by bit, step by step, you get there. but it starts with the shift. And if you are in a toxic relationship right now at this time, you will find that before long, you have to change if you ever want to be happy and grow. You might not like it, but you know it's coming, you feel it. And once that shift is underway, a powerful, sometimes shocking thing happens. You start to really see the problem and you know the solution. And it might be a hard solution and it might be something you just don't really want to do, but things have never been clearer. You know the shift is happening. It's time to shine for you when you feel that. It's time to shine because you're about to create something better for your life, something new, something different. And come hell or high water, you will start taking care of yourself. And in some ways, as maybe your mother should have, or someone else in your life, or just the way you should have all along. And you'll become your own fiercest advocate if you're careful. That's a beautiful thing. And this is when, even when it seems impossible, you figure out a way to make that obvious solution you figured out become a reality. I think that's the shift, right? As we go through the healing process, we learn first that we have a problem. And then we start to understand the mechanics of it, how it works. And eventually the psychology, the behaviors, all of that comes together for us. And at some point we recognize the depth of it. Then, and in my opinion, only then, can we really begin to evolve and shift and become the truest, fullest versions of who we are, of ourselves. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. And yeah, I know I think too much. I get that. But what do you think about this idea of the shift? That brings me to the question of the day. And the question of the day is, have you personally experienced one or more of these shifts? And how did you feel about it when it happened? Share your thoughts, ideas, experiences in the chat right now if you're with me live, or in the comment section below if you're watching back later. And now, my friends, it is time to read the cards. So let me just get my chat pulled up here. Hello, everybody. And here we go. Today we are starting off as usual with our Dialectical Behavior Skills Therapy deck, which is linked in the description below, but you don't need to buy it because I'm sharing all of them with you over the course of this show. And in fact, we are now on number 45, which means pretty soon we will be switching to a brand new deck that I have waiting and ready for us. Anyway, number 45, this is your homework for today. It is an interpersonal effectiveness skill, and it reads, know how to make a simple request. Getting your needs met in an appropriate way requires knowing how to make a simple request. First, explain your problem, then ask your question in a polite way that's not too aggressive, and in the form of like, would you mind if? Finally, be appreciative. Say thank you. Today, practice in front of a mirror making these simple requests. So today, get in front of a mirror, maybe go in the bathroom, bedroom, whatever, and practice asking for your needs. Practice getting your needs met in an appropriate way. So make a simple request. Explain your problem. Say maybe, I'd really like to have, I don't know, a vegan lunch from now on at work. And then you ask the question in a polite way. Would you mind if we had a vegan lunch option at work from now on, for example? And then finally be appreciative. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. Whatever. That's your homework for today. It doesn't have to have anything to do with veganism. And I wish I could tell you I was a vegan, but I'm not. But I do love some vegans. That's something. All right, moving right along. The Gabrielle Bernstein Super Attractor deck will give us our affirmation for today. And this is also linked in the description, but again, you don't need to buy it because I'm sharing all the cards with you, and we're also on the same number, 44, I believe. And we will be switching over to new decks in about a week. I'm so excited. This is a really pretty card. I don't know if you can see that here. And it says, as soon as I choose to see the light in the dark corners, I redirect my power toward what I want. Now this is your affirmation for today. I want you all to hear this and write it down. Here it goes. As soon as I choose to see the light in the dark corners, I redirect my power toward what I want. That's your affirmation for today. All right. And we are just about to jump right on into the chat and talk to all of you amazing people. Here we go. Let's see. Hello, Karen, Little Miss Charmmaker, Polly Pink. Hello, hello. Welcome. Suzanne, hello from 6 weeks no contact. Congratulations, honey. I'm so excited for you. Hey, what's for tea? Welcome back, my friend. Mokawa, yep, we're live. Right on, right on. Let's see here. Karen Foreman says, yeah, Suzanne. Okay. Yes, I think she's cheering Suzanne on with that 6 weeks. Lauren G, hey girl, hey, welcome back, says welcome. Yes, I made it on the live shine, but as you know, I just realized I'm only looking at top chat. I have to switch that. Somebody said they didn't hear me. They didn't get their questions answered. So let me make sure I'm in live, all the chats now. Christine says, cool kitty. Hi, Angie. Is there a cat in here with me? I didn't even know. Okay. Welcome back. UNA says, I wish I could drink coffee. Aw, I used to love it. Oh, gosh, that would be tough for me. I hope I don't have to deal with that. Because I feel like, decaf is just pointless. It's just teasing me, really. Although I know that some people are so sensitive to caffeine that even decaf bothers them. I heard that just recently. Let's see here. Okay. Hello, Grace. Welcome back, my friend. Oh, what's for tea says, I'm a genealogy fan. That's another story. That is another story. I've done a lot of stuff with that. For those of you who are new around here, you might not know, but I spent 16 years finding my husband's birth parents because he was left in a phone booth as a newborn. There's a video on my channel about it. If you just type in my name, Angie Atkinson, and adoption mystery or something like that, you'll find that video. But don't watch it now. Stick with me. All right, let's see. Oh, UNA is also into the genealogy stuff. That's awesome. Okay, what's for tea? Oh, wait. Hey, Flower Child. Welcome back, my friend. Flower Child says, happy Thursday. Let's make it the best day ever. Yes, girl, yes. What says, I'm now in another new stage of my evolution. Yes, I'm getting this. Okay, I'm digging that. I'm loving it. UNA is the same. Grace says, I'm so glad I'm finally not the person I used to be. This girl is so much smarter than the previous version. We're on the same page there, honey. I was there too. Hey, Richard Dobbins, welcome. Richard Dobbins, welcome back, my friend. Awesome supporter. He says, I am stubborn. I try to break down brick walls, beat them into submission. That never works. It just ends up with you having bloody fists and heads or whatever you're banging into the wall. Stop being so stubborn and give yourself some place to put that energy better. You know what I mean? There are many, many, many places that would really, I think, in my opinion, make a huge difference for you on that. All right. Let me see. Lauren is no longer tolerating abuse, she says, and drawing new boundaries, but it's getting lonely as these boundaries are displaying the lack of respect of people I thought cared for me. Yeah, this is the hard part, Lauren, is that part right there. In fact, I may go ahead and talk about the lonely part and moving forward during our next session, because this is something that I think we all go through. We all, as we start to set boundaries, we recognize there are maybe more toxic people in our lives than we thought. That in itself can be pretty upsetting. But yeah. So I want to apologize, by the way. Some of you aren't probably seeing this live because my text service for some reason is down this morning. I was unable to even access the site to send the texts. So if you were one of those people that missed the text, I apologize. I did try to notify you in other places, but I only have so many places. So let's see here. Yeah, Lauren, but we're going to dig more into that topic of, maybe rediscovering healthier people in our lives, or how to deal with losing so many people when we start to recognize the toxicity of people around us. What tends to happen is that before we understand what we're dealing with, those people just feel normal to us, and then at some point we find one of them pushes us too far. We start digging, we figure out, oh my gosh, this is a narcissist, or this is a really toxic person. And then we have to start, moving them away from us or clearing our lives of the toxic people. And then as you start to set boundaries and you stop putting up with all the crap, a lot of people around you suddenly come out of the woodwork and you realize, oh my gosh, they're everywhere, right? I think we all go through that little period where we suddenly realize we have more than one in our lives. Maybe not all of us, but I think a lot of us do. And yeah, certainly, Lauren, that's stressful, but stay strong, because it does get better. And if you look at it from the perspective of, hey, you know what? I literally cleared space in my life for better people to be here by moving those toxic people out. And even though that feels uncomfortable for a minute, it does get better. And then when you start to sort of open your horizon, expand your horizons, and kind of branch out into new places and new things, you can actually meet some pretty amazing people along the way. So I hope that is on your plan and on your heart. Chris, I'm sorry that I was late today. It has been a crazy day already, and I just got started, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here, Chris. Polly says, learn the word no. Yes, indeed, my friend. That is a beautiful thing. You and I, hey, welcome back. You and I says, I recently had a profound shift when I realized that the voice and shame in my head wasn't mine and that I didn't agree with it. Right. She said, wow, I didn't feel something break. I felt something leave and I felt freedom. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, I get that. I get it. The something that broke thing happened when, the CPS situation happened. But I've also felt something leave. I felt like a literal shift and suddenly realized, like I suddenly woke up and recognized, oh my gosh, I'm not really a total piece of crap after all, and that was profound for me. So let's see here. UNA says, it's okay. We didn't know what we didn't know and we didn't know it. That's right, my love. That is right. Hey, Jack Goodings. Welcome back, my friend. Happy to have you. C says, I asked my dad about the same things that were in your quote. He said, sweetie, that's called growing up. You don't have time for the BS of others. So it sounds like maybe he knows what he's talking about. Yes. Grace says, ditto to you and I. Richard says, a paradigm shift of your mind, body, and soul. A rebirth like Phoenix rising from the ashes. Yes, exactly. I literally felt as though I sort of woke up. Suddenly, I could see everything from a whole different perspective. It was powerful, stressful, and amazing all at the same time. All at the same time. Let's see here. Yes, Richard, says Lauren and Chris. Hey, Bama, welcome back. Ms. Fantastic in the house also agrees with Richard on that one. Yes, indeed. Jack Gooding says, yeah, there's no question about it. We become someone who has this strength of conviction and self-worth. Indeed, my friend, indeed. Lauren says, I'm okay on my own. I've been single and I live alone with my kitty, but I worry about not having close people in my life that I can open up to. Indeed. I do get that. And I have worried about the same thing, but what I'm learning is that, quantity over quality, big deal, big important thing. And just, again, this requires you to go a little bit outside your comfort zone, but it is valuable. So I'm definitely going to do I'll do a session in the upcoming, wait, what is today? Thursday? Yeah, I could do it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk about the lack of close connections and ways that we can foster new, healthier ones. If that's of interest to everybody, let me know in the chat here. C says, I never knew my dad was so shineful. I love that. Give him a big hug for us, shall you? Will you? You and I says, my therapist saw a shift in me too, but attributed it to an external change in circumstances. It was internal, powerful, peaceful, and joyful. Now I'm learning how to do life differently, and I'm kind of excited. Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? That's the good part. This is the good part. Like when you get to that point where you start to shift, it's the best thing. It literally, it's like a whole different world. It's like you're suddenly seeing things you couldn't have seen before. Like when my daughter was 4, this is a silly example, but I think you'll feel me on it. We found out, okay, when she was 4, I always had pretty good health insurance, but we had this, I wanted to take everybody to get their eyes checked. We had this really good vision plan, we always do, and I had called around to several places in town looking for one that they would take a 4-year-old, right? And she was just barely 4, and every place was like, no, she's too young, we can't test her. And finally I found a place that did. So I go in there with the whole family, everybody ready to get their eye exam done. First thing they said to me is, we can't do her, she's too young. I said, listen. So blah, blah, blah. Long story short, they checked her. And it turned out that she needed glasses so badly, she was almost blind in one eye. And I never needed glasses till I got old. You know what I'm saying? Like I did have astigmatism, but I had 20/20 vision until it happens. Anyway, but my daughter has my husband's eyes and she needs glasses desperately. And I initially cried a lot when I found out, not because she would be wearing glasses, but because I hadn't figured this out sooner. But when she got the glasses, this is funny, one of the things she did, she put them on and she took one look at me and she looked at my arm and she said, "Mom, do you always have cat hair on your arm?" And she had never seen that before. So, I mean, it's silly. I don't think I have cat hair on me today, but not yet anyway. But yeah, there was a cat hair on the arm of my jacket and she saw it right away and she'd never noticed anything like that. So my point is, when she got those new glasses, her whole world changed and she suddenly saw things she'd never seen before. And that happens to us in a way when we sort of take off the narc glasses. We sort of take off the perception of being broken, of being the bad one, of being the crazy one, and we start to see the situation for what it really is. And then we start to recognize how much of our life we have spent, living that lie. And some of us get really mad. I did. I was super mad, but I'm over it now because everything for a reason. Well, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I'm going with anyway. But I do believe that it is what led me to you today, and I think that's an important part of all of this stuff. So Jack Gooding says, totally yes, there's not even a need to argue anymore, right? I'm with you on the same page. Richard Dobbins says, I really enjoy these decks. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Thank you. And Mo Cowboy agrees. That's awesome. I'm really excited about the next ones because I think I told you this yesterday, but they have journaling prompts with them. And so I think that's really cool for what we do here, because I think we should all be journaling. And that's another thing I'd like to talk about at some point. Okay. Chris says, what's for tea? I wish I were more into genealogy. I'm so fascinated by it. I mean, I have found so much really cool stuff about the people that came before me. And I'm interested in the men too, of course. And I've gotten some really fascinating men in my family, but the women, it's hard to find good history on who they really were, except for those who were, the ones that came out of the, I'm trying to, Salisbury, the Earl of Salisbury, those people are related to my family distantly. My 10th great grandfather was one of them. So there's a lot of history on those people, but not on the people who were maybe less societally accepted as much. But it is what it is. Let's see here. Superstar says, hey Superstar, welcome. I always see you in the comments. I love when I get to see you in the chat. How are you? The quote may be from Wayne Dyer, the author of the book The Shift. That's entirely possible. I do read a lot of Wayne Dyer stuff, and it's totally possible. Hey JD, welcome. Welcome back. JD says, hey Angie, made my day reading your email. Excuse me. Thanks so much. I started school this week. It's been so hard fighting my emotions, but I'm fighting through it day by day. Stay strong, my friend. And may I suggest that instead of fighting, you start to flow. And what I mean is, yes, deal with your emotions. Yes, if you need to push through, but try to see it as you're flowing toward what you want and away from what you don't want. And by releasing control over things you can't control and just staying focused on the things that you have some ability to affect, you're going to make a big difference in your life. And by not fighting and flowing instead, it's going to feel so much better. Try it and see how it goes for a week or so. You might be surprised. Terry says, I have experienced a few shifts. I had a wow feeling every time, and it makes me realize how unwell I used to be, and it gave me an attitude of gratitude. Right? Terry, that's powerful, and I am totally with you. Same. Yeah. Once I got over the mad part. I gotta say, anger has been a part of many of my shifts, but I would say, like I said, justifiable rage in some cases. I think all the cases almost. It took me sort of, putting up with it, and then one day going, wait a minute, what the heck am I doing? Why am I tolerating this? Or whatever, yeah. At first the anger came, and then, all the other stuff. Of course, leading up to the anger was a lot of, questioning and self-examination and research and all the nerd stuff that comes with that. And then when it suddenly hit me that I had been wrong about what I thought to be true all this time, I would be mad for a minute. Not every time, but many times. So I get it. Yep. What's for Tea says, I've had a few shifts, going through one right now. I could even see it coming, calling it a feeling wonky period. I can relate to that. I get the same thing. I'll feel almost uncomfortable, or I'll feel sort of like almost paralyzed, but not really, but like I just know something's around the corner. I can, you know how people say something's on the tip of their tongue. I'll be like, it's on the tip of my soul. I can feel it coming. The change is coming. And I get excited when that happens, because usually that means something good is coming. Sometimes change is painful, but almost always it can lead to a better something if you let it, I have found that to be true. All right, here we go. Okay, now it says, welcome to, oh boy, it just threw me all the way down to the bottom. Here we go. Where are we? Hey, Freedom Lee. There I am. Hey, Piper. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, beautiful sister. She said, I look beautiful today and all day. She might be a little biased. I don't know. Grace says, that card affirmation of today sounds a bit like focus on what you want, not on what went wrong. Let's check that again. As soon as I choose to see the light in the dark corners, I redirect my power toward what I want. It does kind of sound like that. But, in the course of this just today, when I talked about what it feels like when you have that shift, and for me, it started with anger a few times. I think by focusing, instead of focusing on, the darkness or what I can't control, what did go wrong, all that stuff. If I focus on the light, which might be what I can control, or which might be the positive lesson, or the lesson in general that I got out of that deal, and then redirecting my power toward what I want, simply means stop fighting against what I don't want and start flowing toward what I do want, I think. What do you think, Grace? Do you think that's off base? Ooh, sorry. Lauren says, yes, T, they say when you are shifting and growing, it makes you uncomfortable. Yep, there it is. She said, I guess I'm having a big shift. I'm uncomfortable and dissociating pretty bad. Okay, Lauren, listen. If you want to get through the dissociation part of it faster, try a pattern interrupt. It can really make a big difference. If you, for example, if you're feeling totally out of your head, go take a quick shower, or go outside and walk around for a minute, or brush your teeth, or do that thing I do with the affirmation where you go, I now cancel that thought and replace it with this affirmation of my true divine desire, because that you have to slow down and think of that sentence first, and then say something you actually want instead of something you don't want. Or, do anything to get yourself back in your body. Like if it's not too cold where you live, go outside and put your feet in the grass and scrunch your toes up in it a little bit. Find yourself in your body again in a way that can really help you. Once you do the shit, once you do the pattern interrupt and you're kind of present for a minute, then redirect yourself in a positive way. For example, focus on figuring out what are 10 things I'm grateful for and 3 things I love about myself. That's an easy go-to, because by the time you go through that list, first of all, your energy is going to shift a little bit. You're going to feel a little more positive. And secondly, you might be more in your body than you were before. Dissociation is really difficult, and it's like a fog that happens. But I find that pattern interrupt is a good way to kind of bring yourself back into the moment. But then once you've done that, you need to figure out why you're dissociating. Is it something that is like a problem you're not dealing with? Is it the shift that you're feeling coming on? And if it is the shift, open your mind to the possibility. Maybe pull out your journal and just start writing, free, so what's it called? Stream of consciousness. I don't even care if you start out by being, this is dumb, Angie told me to do this stupid journal entry. It's fine with me, do it. Because you'll get to that point where the real stuff starts coming out. Sometimes you just have to write the nonsense first to get the real stuff to come out. But that's why it's a journal. It's a positive way to do it. Excuse me. Lisa says, hey Lisa, welcome back. I think welcome back. That shift, she said, the shift made me feel like ooh, this is powerful. I really like this. I'm gonna have to read it carefully to you guys. She says, the shift made me feel like the caterpillar cocoon faded away, replaced by a bright new garment. Is that beautiful or what? Lisa, you're so poetic. I love it. Freedom Lee, welcome back, my beautiful friend. I'm so happy to see you. Longtime supporter. Big sweetie, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. She said she's listening while she's getting ready for work. UNA says, oh, I always called. Actually, I don't think Freedom Lee is a big sweetie. She's just a regular sweetie. Let me clarify that. She's pretty small, I think, physically. I'm just going to stop talking. UNA says, I always called my shifts my aha moments. Yeah, well, same thing. It is. It's the same thing. It feels good, though, right? It feels, suddenly you just become aware. Oh, I had no idea. And what I love about a shift, a really good one, sometimes they're not like negative, like, or they don't, sometimes they don't come from negative, they just come from misbelief. For example, excuse me, certain movies have stuck in my head, like, excuse me, what's that movie called? Interstellar. I know it's not like a super, but there's some things that happen in that movie that, if you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it. And it's not my usual type of movie, but when you watch it and you watch it to the end, you'll see why I love it so much. There is a profound thing that happens, and it made me rethink a lot of things on many different levels. And so I always like things like that too. So those are, sometimes you have a more positive sort of shift in your thought process. Like, I just didn't know that this was how it was, or I didn't understand this concept, or, now I know this, but I thought this before. Sometimes those don't have to be just about recovery. I think everyone in the world has, every self-aware person in the world has shifts that help them understand the world or the things around them or the people around them on a whole other level. And then there's the whole fact that none of us really know anything about the world anyway, if we're being really honest with ourselves, but I'll talk about that a different day. And I'm not talking about us survivors, I'm talking about us humans. We know a lot less than we like to think that we know, if we're being honest, but that's another story. My point for telling you that, though, is that one of the things that I have learned in my recovery is that even the facts that we think we know sometimes are wrong. And if we decide, I was told this, and so I believe this from now on, and I believe nothing else, we're limiting ourselves to the idea of understanding more. I mean, we can only understand what we can understand, but the truth is, even scientists are clueless on a lot of the stuff that happens in our world. And the other truth is, if we look deeply, we can also see throughout history where, the world lied to us, or the leaders of the world, or whoever, people lied to us and told us things were XYZ when really they were ZYX or whatever. I'm just getting off track. Anyway, let me get back to the point of this. Let's see. Detox tea for Chris today. Right on. Let's see. Richard says, that card is kind of like what you feed is what grows. Oh, valuable. Yeah, that's the truth. Yep. I think that's true. Caitlin, hey Caitlin, welcome, says, you begin to notice your inner glow after healing from a toxic relationship. Right? Suddenly you realize, I'm all right. And yeah, that inner glow, you might catch it in the mirror sometimes, or you might be walking past the store window and be like, hey girl, or hey guy. I'm just kidding. My point is, sometimes you catch a glimpse of yourself and you don't even realize how much you've changed until you see that. It's like that time when I first moved back to St. Louis from college, and I had picked up the accent from where I went to college and didn't notice. And 6 months later, I called my answering machine. Yes, answering machine, that's how long ago that was. And I heard this person who sounded a little bit like me, but had this crazy accent talking on my answering machine. Of course, I immediately went home and changed it. But I guess I had developed a little more of a drawl, I guess, which to some of you might sound hilarious because you probably think I sound funny, but I think I sound normal now. So anyway, point is, sometimes you don't notice change until it's already changed. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but yes, Caitlin, I agree with you. And Jack can definitely relate to what Lauren said about going through dissociation. I hope that was a helpful couple of tips I provided there. Hey, Jennifer Baker, welcome. Said, thank you so much for what you just shared before the cards. Right where I am today. I love your show. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much, and thanks for being here today. Chris says to Richard, I try to jump hurdles. Brick walls are too hard. Hey, that works for me. Yeah, it sure does. Karen says, yes, I've had a shift. At times when I recognize my value in contrast to the odd feelings I get when others have treated me mysteriously and inappropriately. Devaluing and disrespectful behaviors. Yeah, I get that, Karen. That's exactly what happened to me when I was about 35, 36, 37. I don't know. I had that moment where I suddenly recognized I did have value, and these people were treating me like I didn't, and I was mad. I got mad, and I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who got mad about that. But you know, if you really think about what you've gone through and how people have treated you, and then you look at the fact that you are, you know, you're a human being who deserves to be loved and respected just like every other human being does. You're no less than anyone else. It's infuriating. You know, I literally thought I was less than everyone else. I literally thought that everyone else was more important than me, more real than me, just better in general, because that's what I was taught. And it took me a long time. And today, I don't think I'm better than any person on this planet at all. Not even really a narcissist, because narcissists are people too, but I still don't need to let those people in my life, you know what I'm saying? But the idea of anyone thinking they're better than anyone is incredibly, okay, I do think I'm better than some people. Like people who hurt children, or people who, you know, hurt other people on purpose. In general, I think I'm better than those people. But outside of that, I don't think so. You know, I don't think any of us are better than anyone. Yeah. Jessie says, hey Jessie, welcome back. Hi, I'm making my afternoon coffee over here in Yorkshire, England, in the countryside. Oh, that sounds beautiful. I need to go visit that place. I have people from there. Some of the people. Welcome back, Jessie. Uncle Meow Meow says, you know, I gotta tell you the whole thing. I love your name. Okay, moving on. This upcoming Saturday night will be my 3 weeks of no contact. All right. Okay, congratulations. Keep going. How do you feel? What's going on with you? Tell us. Has anybody heard from E-Rock today? I haven't seen him in the chat and I'm worried. Terry says, I loved doing the ancestry thing. I met cousins I didn't know I had. Opened up a whole new world for me. Same girl. She said, I got to see my great-grandfather's house. Very cool. Go see yours. It's a priceless experience. Yeah, Terry, I want to do that too. And I want to go to Europe. I want to visit the exciting places like the Cecil home and a few things like that. And then I also want to go visit the places that suck, like Auschwitz and all that, because of my other half of my family. So yeah, I want to dig deep, and I want to find all the things. I want to stand in the places they stood and breathe the same, you know, be there. I want to feel it. And I'm very excited about all of that. Hey Katie, welcome. Katie says, I'm new here and I absolutely love watching your videos. Thank you. She said, I'm 4 months post-discard and I'm having problems coping with my 2.5-year-old daughter. Ooh, being around the narcissist news supply. Okay. That is horrible, and I'm sorry. I have made a video about that before, but let me just give you some stuff. First of all, I don't know the situation, and I don't know how well you know the narcissist news supply, but I'll tell you this, there is a chance that she's a decent person. There is a chance that the news supply is a nice person because, well, look at yourself and recognize maybe other women in his past were also nice people. And so that gives you this opportunity to, it's so hard because nobody wants to talk to the person that's, you know, sort of in their mind replacing them, although nobody's really replaceable, if we're being honest. But Katie, in this situation, I think what you need to do is accept what it is. And if I were you, I would call that person, that woman or whoever it is, and make friends with that person and be as nice to that person as you can be, because number one, pretty soon they're going to be getting the same crap you left over, or that person, you know, the same abuse that you got, and if they're not already. And number two, chances are the narcissist isn't going to choose another narcissist to be with. Likely that person might actually be an empath. Now, I have seen situations where the news supply is a total ridiculous mess and will like send you know, nasty texts to I just saw a case on TV yesterday or something. I don't know if it was really yesterday because I don't watch TV live usually, but there was a woman who was married to this man. They had 2 adult children or almost adult children, and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, the man had an affair. The woman decided she was going to stay with him and put up with it and just help get through it. She didn't tell the kids. Finally, the woman that he was having the affair with started sending her horrible, disgusting stuff videos of the two of them together, just basically trying to get her to let go of her husband so that she could move in on him. And the woman was like, no, that's my husband, we're going to stick it out, which I disagree with that theory, but that's just her, what she decided. And long story short, one day she catches her husband driving down the road on a motorcycle, and right behind him one of the family cars with the mistress inside the car. Then she was in her car, she turned around and went to chase the mistress down the street. Somehow her husband, during the chase, lost control of his motorcycle, ended up in the ditch. She didn't see this happen, and actually she bumped him or something, and she didn't see this happen. The husband died, and the new supply, which I don't even know he was a narcissist, but he was obviously taking advantage of a lot of things there. The new supply, had received a voicemail from the adult daughter saying, I told you not to mess with my family or something like that. And so, long story short, the mother got 2 years in prison, the father died, and the new supply is nowhere to be found. But the reason I'm sharing that is because there are situations where the new supply sucks, but there are also situations, and I would say more commonly than not, if you give the new supply a chance, they might be nice to you. Let me know if that's even an option for you here, Katie. I don't know if she's one of those crazies or not, but let me know. But outside of that, I gotta tell you something, Katie, I would not like it. I would be so upset by it, and I would do my best to keep my kid away from that person. If I'm just woman to woman, mom to mom, especially at that age, I would want my kid to be older before being alone with another person that isn't me. Or, and I don't know how much you trust your ex either. Sometimes narcissists are decent fathers or mothers, sometimes they're not. And so mostly they're not, if we're being honest, but sometimes they take care of the basic needs of a 2.5-year-old. So it's hard to say. If you have any more information on that, let me know in the chat here. Freedom Lee says, thank you for being here to make our lives better. Big hugs and love to you, my friend, and thank you for being here and being a supporter. And the same to Stacy at Bible News Radio, longtime supporter. Hey girl, hey. Always enjoy Stacy. She's a lot of fun and so smart. And yeah. Okay. You and I says, I actually felt more lonely when I was disconnected from myself, and my boundaries were constantly trampled on by those that supposedly cared about me. You and I, that is a profound statement. And I get that. I remember, like in my college days, I had this one living situation where I had 3 other roommates. We had this ginormous apartment on top of one of those old Victorian houses. It was like the whole top floor turned into an apartment. It was really awesome. But anyway, it turned into some bad stuff. But I remember sitting around with those people, and just hanging out. There would be all these guests over because there were so many of us there. And I would be in this room full of people. Everybody's having a good time and doing all this stuff. And I would just be alone. It was like I was in this bubble and I couldn't feel them or hear them, but I could see them. Does that make any sense? I would feel completely alone in a crowded room, and that happened throughout my lifetime. Sometimes it still does. But I get that. But when you are connected to yourself and you are in control of your own boundaries and all that stuff, yeah, you open your life for not only I love to spend time alone now. I need it every day, but even in that room full of people, I felt so utterly, like Winona Ryder said in the Beetlejuice movie, I was so utterly alone. I couldn't connect to anyone because I was so broken. You know what I mean? Ugly. But yeah, I get you. Linda Stevens, hey, says, I'm getting there. I checked out my genealogy. What a mess. Evidently lied to for many years, but it's okay. Okay, I got a quick story about that. My entire part of my family believes that, should I say this out loud? Part of my family believes they are Native American, but they are not. At least I'm not. And I did find where they said one of our relatives lived on a reservation, and that's true. Because what happened was this man married his first wife, who looked like me, and then she died after having one or two kids. And then he married a second wife who was Native American and had kids with her. So yes, we have relatives who are Native American, but our ancestor came from the first wife. So, but nobody believes me. So It's cool. Yeah, I get it. And I kind of got kind of pushed out for saying that, and it's fine. It is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. I get you, Linda. What's for Tea says, I've been gray rocking certain friends more. She said, not tolerating their baloney anymore, moving on. Unfortunately, that's all you can do. I mean, we, by the time we're adults, we're not changing unless we choose to change, right? We're not going to go, gosh, I have this tickle. Sorry. We're not going to find ourselves becoming someone we're not unless we choose to do that. We can't change anyone unless they want it. We can't change anyone. They can change themselves. We can offer them our help and assistance. But if they don't choose to do it, anything they do is only going to be a temporary behavior modification. And when we're talking about friends, most friends don't do major change for other quote unquote friends unless they really believe that there's a problem. And if they are toxic, generally they don't believe there's a problem with them. JD says, Lauren, I am with you, and it's a daily struggle. I've been feeling so alone. Well, JD, I'm glad you're here with us, and I hope you stick with us. We do this stream Monday through Friday. Well, except starting next week, it'll be Tuesday through Friday, but I'll still have a video for you on Monday. I just won't be here live. But yeah. Stacy says, no, you're not. You're one of the most genuine people I know. Well, thank you. I don't remember what that was in reply to, but I love you though. Thank you. Linda says, what's for tea? Amen, sister. I don't tolerate much BS anymore. Same. I mean, if it affects me or someone I love directly, I don't tolerate it. If it's not directly affecting me or someone I love and it's not going to hurt anyone else, I just walk away from it now. I guess I'm not tolerating it. I'm not letting it be part of my world. I'm not going to try to talk to a brick wall. Yeah. Yep. All right, let's see here. Karen says, yeah, finding out my significant other was a narcissist, I realized a shift from thinking I was just working hard at my relationship because I thought relationships take work to understand their behaviors were abuse. Yeah, Karen, I had that same issue. I had no desire to ever be divorced. I had no desire to ever go through any of that stuff, and yet I did because I had that same kind of shift, and I had to realize it, and it was difficult and painful. Nobody wants that. Because I also agree that relationships do take work. They do, even the good ones. But they shouldn't be abusing us in the process, Yep. Waking up in stages, what's for tea? That's right. Same here. I did the same thing. I'm still waking up some days, Okay, Miss Fantastic, I'm picking you up. Nancy says, oh, hi, Nancy. Welcome back. Oh, do I ever hear you? It took 55 years to finally figure out the horrible influences in my nuclear family. It's hard making the realization that your beloved family wasn't all that great for you. I know. But it's powerful. And I know. What's for tea says, right, nothing like waking up several times a day. That's Linda said to What's for tea. Right, totally with you, girl. Linda said that to What's for tea. I can't talk today, I'm sorry. UNA says, and it's funny, but my shifts seem continual. Yes, not one big shift, all healed. More like a series of shifts. UNA, I think that's normal. I went through the same thing. I'm still, like I said, I'm still having shifts. I really believe that we will continue to evolve throughout our lifetimes. And I also believe that if we stop learning and doing a little better for ourselves and moving forward each day into some slightly newer version of ourselves, like what else is there? At some point you create your own purpose, and your own reason for being. And I think part of that must include learning and growing and evolving every day personally. Do you agree or disagree? Yeah, I'm with you. Richard said, 47 just got glasses. That tiny print on medicine bottles was all a blur. Well, then you know. Then you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Hey, Nubia. Welcome back, my friend. Narc goggles. Exactly, Miss Fantastic. Well, Cowboy says, for me, I go through a period of physically feeling horrible. Aches, pains, headaches, etc., followed by clarity, sanity, and physical health. You know what? I can kind of relate to that. I have had moments like that too, certain times. And sometimes when you get sick, for me, sometimes when I get sick because of something like this, it's because I'm resisting change. And sometimes I need to get sick to slap me in the face, sort of. Does that sound stupid? So I'm trying really hard to flow and not fight the changes, because I do not like to not feel good. It happens, but yeah. Excuse me. Angela says, but it was all lies, but I'm not sure. I didn't see her first comment. I don't know why I didn't see that. But I think you mean the stuff that you were brought up to believe about yourself, and if that's the case, I get it. It makes you very angry, and that it did me anyway. Maybe it was different for you, but yeah. UNA likes the term narc goggles. That's a fun one. Free to be me, welcome back, says, it took me years to really believe my narcissist is distorted, and I'm still in the shock of the aftermath. My greatest betrayal is being with someone for years and never knowing how he wanted to destroy me. I know what that means and what that feels like. Yeah, I know what that feels like. With my parent, I was hearing loud noises. With my parent, I really believed, despite all the things, I really believed this person, when push came to shove, would have my back, and I was proven, sadly, and traumatically wrong in a really difficult way. But that moment would become the moment that allowed me to finally go no contact and release the poison from my life. So there's a silver lining, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I went through a similar thing, feeling so betrayed and so shocked at someone who literally my entire life had made me believe that, yeah, she didn't like me very much. Yeah, she was mean to me, but we were family, and family doesn't do that to each other. Well, family did it. Anyway, now I think family is not blood necessarily. It can be, but it's not always just blood. It's sometimes just the people who you love and the people who love you back. And, some of those people for me are blood related, and some of them aren't. It is what it is. Mo Cowboy says, research the why. I felt so bad before feeling better. Oh, he did the research. He said, I came across the concept of rewiring angels that rip your guts out and then allow us to put them back in and stitch up the wound. Oh, that's interesting. I kind of get that. Fascinating. Interesting concept. Jack says, I journaled a lot recently. I've been sketching the scenes of what happened with words said. I find it very powerful. Jack, that is very powerful. And in fact, you might be able to help some other people with that if you ever thought about it. But yeah, that's incredibly powerful. I've painted a lot. I've drawn some. My paintings can be dark sometimes, but they're whatever they are. Some of them are cool. Some of them suck. I'm not painting for a living for a reason, but I enjoy it. And of course, I've journaled my whole life since I could pick up a pencil when I was, I don't know, I think I started my first official diary when I was 6, maybe. I have it somewhere, actually. Yeah. Oh, Mo Cowboy says, hey, Jack Lemon, welcome back, my friend. No worries on being late. I was not able to send out my text today because my text service website was down, and I still don't know why. But I did send him a message. We'll see. Mo Cowboy says, there's a clip in Angels in America that depicts this well. Oh, right on. I'll have to look into that. Free to Be Me says, it changed my whole look on humanity. Same. And that's almost a devastating thing when that happens, because part of me wishes I didn't know what I know, because I wouldn't have to think about the things I have to think about in the world, because humanity can be very ugly if we're honest. But I try really hard to stay focused on, again, number one, what I can control, and number two, the parts that don't suck. Because there are people, decent people, who are out there living their lives and trying to be happy and not trying to ruin everybody else's life. And, I'm thinking I got about 63 of them sitting with me right now, All right. Excuse me. What's for Tea says, yes, nobility and aristocracy kept better records. That's why it's easier for some to find their history. Have lots of this too. Yeah. I've seen it. It's only on one side of my family for the most part. And then we have other stuff. But the good records kept for the most part, with the Jewish side of my family, except when the Holocaust comes along, that a lot of them are shipped over here, and that's where we showed up at from Russia, because they evacuated Russia. It's really the whole thing. I'm so fascinated. We'll talk about that another day. Yeah. Jack, Bonnie says, and Bonnie, thank you being here representing the Mod Squad. I appreciate you, my friend. Bonnie says, I love that. It's a great idea to sketch along with the journal. Perfect. Yes, agreed. Yep. Le Ruben Slick. Oh, wait. Le Ruben Thompson Slick. Welcome. Welcome back. Wait a minute. I don't think I've ever seen you before, so let me just say welcome. Now I lost my place. Le Ruben. Let me find you. Here we go. Says, I just started watching your videos after I realized I was in a narcissistic relationship for 2 years. And after 3 years, I really realized what happened. Can you tell me how to start living for yourself? I just can't start doing that. Keep worrying about my friends, not me. What can I do for them? Okay. Well, probably if you're an empath, you're not going to stop worrying about your friends totally. But you have to look at it like that whole airplane situation. If you've ever been on an airplane, they'll tell you, put your mask on. You know, if God forbid there's an emergency, put your mask on before you try to help anyone else. And the reason they say that is because, and they say even your own children, which is counterintuitive for a lot of us. But the reason they say that is because if you don't put your mask on fast enough, you're going to pass out and then you can't help anybody. Well, that's kind of a good metaphor for life. So when you want to start living your life for yourself, you have to first start figuring out what exactly you want in your life. And so I like to, sit down and kind of come up with, here's an exercise you can do tonight. Okay. Take a few minutes, close your eyes and rest and think to yourself, imagine to yourself that you woke up, you slept all night and you woke up, had the best night of sleep you've ever had. You wake up the next morning and a miracle has happened. And now all of a sudden, all the problems in your life are gone. You no longer have to worry about money. Everything is just perfect. You don't have to have a job if you don't want to, and ask yourself, what would you do every day with your life? I mean, first, maybe you travel the world and maybe you do all this crazy stuff, but then what would you do every day? Would you get a job? Would you volunteer somewhere? Would you, sit around and paint all day? Would you open a tattoo store or a shop or whatever tattoos are? You know what I'm saying? What would you do with yourself and your time? And in an ideal world where money was not an issue, what would you spend your time doing? I think that's one really good way to start to kind of get an idea of what you want in your future. I've actually got a lot of material about this on queenbeing.com, as well as videos about this kind of stuff. And in fact, my point, Le Ruben, is that you want to take the time to find your passion or something you enjoy doing. Maybe get a project. Some people like to redecorate their house, or they like to, build something, or they like to create something new. Think about something, that little project you can do to get you started, maybe one that lines up with your passion. Do that miracle question exercise I just explained to you. And we've just got a lot of other things available for you at Queen Being and around the internet. So something to think about. Angela says, I have enough medication to do it. Angela, what am I missing? Do what? Did I miss something that Angela said, you guys? Mo Cowboy says the clip is titled Angels in America Change on YouTube. Okay, thank you, Mo Cowboy. You and I says, yes, Angie, I suddenly realized I wasn't broken. I'm not Humpty Dumpty. My perception of me was transformed when I recognized and let go of the toxic shame that was thrown at me like a gorilla throws poo. What a powerful way to see it. And I can absolutely 100% relate to that. I really can. And I like the gorilla throwing poo analogy. That's really legit. It really is. Sandy Benson says, I can feel the changes coming. It's exciting. Thank you. Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Sandy. Jack Lumen says, so we're talking about personal growth, like PTG. Personal something growth? I don't know. Yeah, Jack, we're talking about what happens when you feel this shift in your consciousness or your awareness. And sometimes that shift looks like something small, like I thought I was worthless and now I suddenly realize I'm not, and now I'm mad that everybody in my life has treated me this way for so long. Or maybe it's a shift of a more positive nature, like I watched that movie Interstellar, and when I got to the end of the movie, I rethought everything I believed to be true about space and time. Things like that. So, yeah. Bible News Radio, Stacy says, you always look beautiful. Thank you, my friend. So do you, sweet and lovely. And Nubia says, I felt great initially and then fearful, then elevated yet sadness for wasted time. Yep. Anger was overwhelming, so now I'm in resolve. Yeah, I totally get you. I totally get you. Anger for me was good for propelling me forward. And then I had to stop and go, no, I need to slow down and you can get rid of this toxic stuff, because anger becomes toxic to you when it's no longer useful. So you're totally spot on with that, Nubia. Let's see. Angie, everyone, I want to tell you all something. Jack Gooding says, let me scroll down here to find, he says, when I was a child, age 7 and 8, I and my sister and mom were terribly abused by this man, my stepdad. Let's see. He says, last Friday I was laying in my camper van, not able to sleep. It was on my mind. I called the police and I said I'd like to report a crime, and I told them what happened. And they wrote down all the details. I'm trying to find your next Jack Goodings. 50 years it took me to report it, and I was the one who reported it. Boy, did I feel a shift before I dialed the police number. Wow. Good for you, Jack. Good for you. I know they're not going to probably do much about it now, but I know why you did what you did. I get it. You finally stood up for yourself after 50 years. I'm really proud of you, and it makes me want to cry a little bit, but in a good way. That's really awesome. Okay. Really powerful. Woo! Okay, you guys, now I'm about to cry. My makeup about to run down my face. It's cool, whatever. Darn it. I try to be so tough. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, helpful mom and Jack Lumen, they get annoyed with me when I say I have a bad hair day, but sometimes it looks bad, but worse than you think. All right. You and I says, just because I was close enough to get hit by the gorilla poo doesn't make me the poo or make me deserving of having it thrown at me, nor do I have to walk and around for the rest of my life covered in someone else's poo. Yes. That's right. That's right. Oh, JJ, please don't have coronavirus. I'm hoping you're okay. Stay strong. Take vitamin C and whatever else people say and do. Oh, one channel calls love bombing love mob. Be careful. Okay. Yeah. Yep, cults. Okay, I am running out of time. Actually, I'm over time. I have to rush off out of here. Jack, I'm really proud of you for reporting that crime. Angela, I hope you're okay. Come into the SPAN group and talk to us and let us know what's going on with you. Thanks for being here, everybody. What's for tea? Jack, Chris, Linnell, hey, welcome. I didn't see you there today. She said, I'll never forget that incredible meditation I heard I had to relearn all of it. A completely new life I'm in. That's a beautiful thing, my friend. Yeah, Stacy, my take on the New World Order. I don't know what that means. I do, but I'm not one of those people. I don't really know what the New World Order is about, but I find it, the whole thing, I can talk for hours about what we don't know when we don't know it. I've learned so many things over the course of my life where I've been told one thing and found out there's actually another thing, that I just stay open. I don't necessarily believe anything. I just think that sounds logical. And I research and I learn more things, and I'm content to not know sometimes, or I'm content to be wrong, or I'm content to wonder. And that really annoys people in my life. But that is how I am who I am. That's just part of my nature, apparently, as I get older. So, because I've missed so many different things. So, yes, Mo Cowboy, laughter is incredibly healing. Chris, I'm sorry for your vehicle. Everybody, keep Chris and her vehicle in your thoughts and or prayers, because her car died and she needs some help. Jack said he'd help you get it fixed if he had a teleporter. I know, right? Good for you, Bonnie, for getting those leaves. Mullein leaves contain coughs too. Oh, I didn't know. All right. Okay. Off track. All right, you guys, I will see you. Again, Jack Goodings, I'm really proud of you, and I'm only slightly annoyed that I had to cry about it. Greetings, Megan from Japan. Yeah. Okay, guys, I want to stay and talk all day because you know how much I enjoy this, but unfortunately I have stuff to do, and I forgot I started an hour late today, so I'm way over time. Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another live stream. And if you have thoughts or ideas on the video that you want me to make on Monday, let me know, because that will be a pre-recorded video, probably 15 minutes or less long. So that way you can watch it fast and tell me your thoughts. All right. Hugs and love, everybody. As always, I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. So thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And thank you for letting me be a part of yours. It means the world to me. I will see you very soon. All right, where did I go? Here I go. See, I need to get that button ready. Okay.